Appreciate it, Lyle. Thanks, man. It's good to be here. Something about me that most people wouldn't know. Wow. When I was at Syracuse, I actually had a role in a dramatic production of A Soldier's Story. A little Yeah, yeah, a little play that we did in a little theater just off campus. So, not something that I've ever had done before that or since then, but yeah, I acted in a play during my college days. That's it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was a lifer, so I think I started when I was 8 playing organized football. When I was growing up, both my parents played touch football, so I was kind of around football all the time, and they were huge CFL fans. So we were always watching TV, or sorry, watching games on TV, and like I said, I was around the game at their games and stuff like that. So as soon as I was old enough to play organized football, I wanted to do it and got started right away. No, I played a little bit of everything. I played soccer for a long time, and then played basketball and ran track in high school. So I was back then. You only played one sport during that season. You didn't play anything around. So I think it was great to play all those other sports and then be excited for football when it came back around again in the fall. Yeah, I mean, I went through a little period in high school where I really enjoyed basketball, but football was always my favorite and always the one that I was the best at. So yeah, yeah, didn't watch a lot of NFL or college growing up, but yeah, my parents were huge CFL fans, so we always watched all the games that were on TV and had tickets for the Rough Riders back in the day when they were here in town. So yeah, big CFL fans always when I was growing up. Yeah, Rough Riders and actually Winnipeg. And I can't remember why I was a Blue Bombers fan, but for some reason they were my team for a long time. Yeah, yeah, so random. Huh? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So in high school, I forget what year it was. I guess probably my 11th grade year, 10th grade year. Some of my coaches just made up my highlight film. Didn't actually tell me they were doing it. They just made up my highlight film and of the last couple of years that I had had, and so we made a bunch of copies of that, sent it out to a bunch of schools, and then they used to go to the Syracuse coaching clinic, and so they took the tape down and actually put it in the coach's hand and in person, and so they got a look at it there. And once they saw the tape, they invited me to come down to their camp, and once I went down to the camp, they kind of offered me on the spot once we were completed camp. So from the tapes that we sent out, I had gotten responses from a few schools, and one of them, I had been to a camp also at the University of Michigan, and Michigan was recruiting me quite a bit my last year of high school, and they were actually my team growing up. So it was a bit of a tough decision. I just felt like Syracuse provided me the best opportunity to get in and play earlier. As well as being a little bit closer to home versus like a 2.5 to 3 hour drive versus 8.5 to 9 to Michigan. So I think that all that stuff came together to kind of point me in the Syracuse direction. It was, yeah, because around here, Michigan was on TV all the time, so I was a huge Desmond Howard guy. So yeah, it was a tough one, but yeah, I mean, for me, I think for sure it turned out to be the right decision. Had a great career at Syracuse. Yeah, yeah. So Yeah, we did. We had a lot of success. It was certainly an eye opener coming from Canadian high school football to being in that environment. I remember when I went down for my official visit, the entire city just revolves around the football day and the game and the tailgates and all that stuff. So bit of an eye opener, and then being able to get there and jump right into everything was took a bit of an adjustment period, and ended up redshirting like most guys do. So that was an adjustment, just getting used to practicing all the time and not having the opportunity to go play. But gradually worked my way in and played quite a bit as a redshirt freshman, as a sophomore, and then started as a receiver my last 2 years, and was a team captain my senior year as well. So turned out to be, and it was a bit of a position adjustment as well. I was mostly a tailback in high school, but didn't have the poundage for that when I got to the university level. So made the transition to wide receiver, and so it took a little bit of time to make that transition as well. But at least, like I said, by the end, it turned out to work pretty well for me. Yeah, I mean, I moved around a little bit. I mean, when I started as a little kid, I was the smallest guy in the field. So when you're 8, 9 years old, and you're the smartest guy, they put you at a corner, right, as far away from everything as possible. So I started there, and then moved to running back. I spent a little bit of time at linebacker when I was a teenager, but for the most part, I was a running back for most of my high school career. Yeah. 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 Yeah, I mean it was a huge adjustment, and I started school in January, so it was a little bit different for me in that I jumped right into the off-season program as opposed to jumping into the summer training camp program. But same idea, right? You jump right into those morning agilities and all that kind of stuff, which you're not prepared for. So yeah, there was certainly a huge physical adjustment going on, and actually in that very first spring, I ended up pulling both my hamstrings pretty severely just because my body wasn't prepared to be a part of that type of program yet. And then yeah, added on to that is being a full time student and living on your own and all those kind of things. So it was a big adjustment in terms of figuring out how to manage your time and those kind of things. And then just getting used to the fact that you're not the big fish anymore, and you got to put in the work and make sure that you're getting yourself prepared to put your best effort on the field every single day, to try to make an impact and show the coaches that you're ready to get on the field. Yeah, I mean, like I say, it was a long process to get to that point. But it was I think that being the smallest guy in the field in high school kind of helped me quite a bit, because even though I was a successful player, it always kind of helped me keep that underdog mentality, and helped me create sort of a work ethic that I knew I needed to work harder than everybody else in order to have success, and that served me well once I got to Syracuse, and really needed to work harder to catch up to some of the guys who were ahead of me physically at that point. Yeah, exactly, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it was all a bit of a whirlwind. I don't think it wasn't really until my senior year that the NFL was even on my radar at all. But got a little bit of notice through my senior year, and then performed well at our pro day. So I knew there was an opportunity that was going to come there, and And so the Giants, when they made me an offer as a undrafted free agent, that was the best offer for me in terms of having a chance to potentially make a team. So, but it was all very, I really just showed up not knowing what to expect whatsoever. Very different from the college experience, obviously, in terms of you're dealing with guys now they're playing for their livelihood and. A big roster, and in my position, anyways, there's 16 to 18 receivers in mini camps and in training camp and stuff like that. So it was really just one of those things once again where every single day was like a game day for me. You had to be up. You couldn't afford to have a bad day, and you had to make a play every single day that makes the coaches say your name and say, yeah, man, that guy's having a good camp and has an opportunity to play here. So. I would say, fortunate. I kind of took advantage of some injuries at the time. So during training camp, we seemed to have a lot of guys go down, and I ended up getting a lot of reps with the first and second team right through training camp, and I was able to maintain my high level of play. So at the end of training camp, I did make the team, which was pretty cool because I'm pretty sure I was last on the depth chart when we started camp. So unfortunately, the way the NFL works out, just the rosters and stuff, I only lasted till week 3 before I got released, and then that's when I came up to Montreal and started the first part of my CFL career, anyways. Yeah, so there was a few scouts at our pro day, and so I spoke to a few guys, and the Giants was one of them, and then. I knew through my agent that there was a few teams that had kind of said, might be a second day draft pick, kind of a later round guy or a free agent. So I kind of had both those options in my head going in, and ended up getting offers from 3 different teams. But like I said, it felt like the Giants was kind of the best opportunity for me. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I mean, anytime you put on a pro uniform, it's a pretty special thing. So, like I said, for me, it was all kind of a whirlwind. I hadn't really been looking at the NFL as an option really until the past year or so. So, but yeah, putting on that uniform and that helmet and walking out of the tunnel. I got used to playing in front of some big crowds in Syracuse, obviously, but it's a different deal when you get into the NFL and you understand that I'm getting paid to do this now, and this is what everybody dreams of doing, and yeah, it's pretty special feeling for sure. Yeah. My folks came down. My girlfriend, now my wife, was there. So yeah, made sure that made sure that the folks got to see that one. Yeah, yeah. It was certainly a little bit of a change. Coming from not just the NFL but also like an NCAA program. So the CFL is a little bit less structured. At least it was when I first arrived. So yeah, it took me back and kind of caught me by surprise the first couple of weeks. Plus, I joined mid-season, so they were kind of actually towards the end of the season. So there's only a few games left. So they were kind of, obviously right in their routine, and everybody knew exactly what they was doing. And I was just kind of jumping into the mix mid-season. So definitely a bit of an adjustment. And as a receiver, I started basically playing the X position in the CFL, so the short side wide receiver. So that didn't change too much for me because I was on the line. I wasn't really doing too much of the waggling at that point. So that part of the game was a relatively easy adjustment. It was more just the off the field stuff that was a different schedule and like I said, a different, like, kind of a laid back attitude compared to what I had come from. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 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 Yeah, so I mean, the field was terrible, kind of actually reminiscent of this past year's. Yeah, and really slippery. And we had spent the entire walk through the day before trying on different pairs of shoes and all that kind of stuff. And and yeah, like the offenses hadn't done much at all up to that point of the game. I believe it was early in the second quarter that that my play came up. And we felt like we had at this point now. I was moving around a little bit. I wasn't just playing on the line of scrimmage, so we felt like if we could move me into the slot, we could get a bit of a mismatch going across the middle. So we called up the play was for me to run basically a diagonal route. So not really much of a route at all, just kind of clearing through the middle of the field. And depending on what the safety did, I would either be a decoy or I would get the ball. So the safety started a little bit deep, and so Anthony hit me right in stride. Safety came up but missed the tackle, and that was it. Just off to the races from there, and yeah, wasn't letting anybody catch me on that day. That's for sure. Thank you. Yeah, it really was, and like I said earlier, CFL was a huge part of my life growing up. So Grey Cup was always kind of the big day of the year when you get together with family and friends and you watch the game and you have some chili and whatever you're going to have with your friends and family to watch the game and stuff. So to be able to do that in that game was yeah, pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, so I had that 2002 season. I had a pretty good year, and had made some pretty big plays throughout the year, not just in the Grey Cup game. So I was able to get myself another opportunity down south, and went to Washington. Wasn't a great situation, but performed well, played well, made it right to the end of training camp, but wasn't able to make the roster that time. But again, it was another good experience, and kind of every little thing that you do obviously adds a little bit to your knowledge and a little bit to your experience and your toolbox of stuff that you're going to take with you moving forward. So, wasn't a great season, obviously, because then anytime you come back mid-season, it makes it difficult to transition. But yeah, but moving forward, it was another good learning experience that I was able to use later on in my career. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that was always something that I had in my head once I thought that pro football was going to be an opportunity for me, is that I wanted to have a chance to come and play at home. And you never know how long a pro career is going to last, right? So even though I was in a really good situation in Montreal, the opportunity came for me as a free agent to come home and play, and so I took advantage of that right away as soon as I could. And it was both good and bad. I would say the football was kind of bittersweet. If you look at some of the guys we had on those teams, we had some pretty talented teams, but we were never able to put everything together and kind of win some games and really perform the way we should have with the players that we had on those rosters. So that was disappointing. But of all the teams that I played for, it's the Ottawa guys that I stay the most in touch with now, and that I have kept in touch with the most over the years. So really good guys, really really great teammates, and it was it's just a shame that we couldn't have won some more football games together and kind of kept the team going. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I still felt like at the end I could potentially play a couple more years. The year in Hamilton was not, was not a fun year. It was another year where we didn't win very many games, and we weren't great offensively. We went a long stretch of time where we weren't scoring very much and that kind of stuff. So as a receiver, that can make for a really long season, and um, yeah, so the teams that were kind of interested in me at that time were kind of similar to that, teams that hadn't been very good the year before, and that kind of stuff, and teams that I was going to need to move for again. And I had just had my first child in 2007, so the thought of moving to a new city again to potentially play another long and offensively miserable, yeah, it wasn't really high on my list at that point. So, I talked to a couple other teams that I wanted to play for. I didn't really fit in their plans at that time. And so I just kind of made the decision that, maybe it was best to kind of move on and move into the next phase of my life. And, you mentioned earlier, well, I did, I missed the guys and missed the camaraderie a little bit, but I didn't really miss playing the game too much right away. And so I kind of felt like, yeah, maybe I did make the right decision at the right time. Yeah. Well, that's it, man. It's a long season, and you got to put a lot into it to do it the right way. So if you're not in it, then yeah, it makes it. Yeah, for sure. So the last couple years of my career, as you know, you kind of look for every edge and advantage to kind of keep you ahead of the game and keep you healthy and keep you improving as you get older, and the young bucks keep coming up to trying to take your job. So in the off seasons, I had started to really take more and more interest in my own preparation. I always had a strength coach, but rather than just kind of doing what he told me to do, I would ask questions and try to figure out why we were doing this and why we were doing that. And, I would kind of ask the same questions of my chiropractor and my massage therapist and stuff. And so I kind of had built up this knowledge over the last couple of years and an interest in high performance and training and preparation. So when I finished, I kind of felt like I wanted to go in that route and use that information and as well as the experience that I had as a player. So and transitioned into, becoming a strength coach and a trainer and helping, helping athletes and now the general population just kind of prepare their body and perform at their very best and stuff like that. So I started out working with the guy who was my strength coach at the time, and then transitioned into opening up Elite Performance Academy with my partner Donnie Ruiz, who was he was a teammate of mine at the Renegades. Yeah, so we got it started in 2010. We actually opened up, and yeah, so we've been going strong ever since. So we deal with a lot of the top athletes here in Ottawa from a wide variety of sports. Obviously, with our background, we've got a very big football program, but we've had a lot of success with basketball and lacrosse and soccer as well. And we've had athletes at various times from all different sports. From figure skating to martial arts to hockey, obviously, and we've sent players to the NCAA. We've trained NFL, CFL, pro lacrosse, pro soccer, and some national team athletes as well. So it's been a lot of fun to kind of move over to the other side of things, and like I said, take the experiences that I had as an athlete and now as a coach, and apply them to a new athlete and a new generation of athlete coming up. With the Red Blacks, yeah. So, yeah, three different names, right? Um, yeah, in 2016, I was the strength coach for the Red Blacks, and it was once again a fun opportunity to be on the other side of things, get back into pro football, but from a coaching perspective, and was a really busy year, obviously with everything going on, but it was a lot of fun. Obviously, that was the year that we won the Grey Cup here in Ottawa, so it was a lot of fun to be a part of, and very cool to, like I said, kind of come full circle. Right, that was the team that I watched growing up, and then I had a chance to play for them as a player, and then come back now and be a coach to kind of finish things off was a pretty cool experience. Yeah, for sure. I mean, quite a few of the guys, obviously, that were there in 2016 are still there, and then a bunch of the guys come to train with us at our facility as well. So, in the off seasons and stuff. So, for sure, we definitely keep track of how they're doing and make sure that we're helping out if we can. Yeah, not anymore. You know, a little bit. Yeah, sometimes obviously when we go on the field and to do our speed stuff and whatever, then there'll be certainly a little bit of demo and maybe a little bit of participation on my part. But yeah, man, those guys are starting to run away from me now. No, 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 no. They don't want any of that. That's good. I got you for the first 5 yards. Yeah. Yeah, so I do quite a bit of online training as well. So people that are either in Ottawa or outside, but just can't get to our facility or can't get to it as often as they would like. So I can do custom programming. We do it, kind of through video and stuff, and then through an app, I can send you the full workout and the exercises, keep track of how you're doing in your progress and all those kind of things. So it's worked out really well in terms of training athletes that way, but also general population. I work with a lot of businessmen and executives who, are too busy to kind of come to my facility 2 or 3 times a week, but do their programming and make sure that they're maintaining their health and fitness and able to be high performers in their business and in their life, even though they're not training as athletes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've got clients all across the country. I've got some in the States and overseas as well. So it's kind of cool to be able to, like you said, kind of reach outside of just kind of your home base and be able to help people and train them from afar. Absolutely. It's so crucial for everything, I mean, it gives you more energy to be yourself with your family and be able to take part in activities with your kids and stuff. And when you're healthy and strong, it just translates into everything, be it business or lifestyle or whatever you want to do. It's a huge part of our business now is just, it's training guys like you and me, right? 40 years old, former athletes trying to stay in shape and trying to stay healthy and strong and kind of maintain what we used to be. Yeah, man, 100%. Best place to reach me is probably on social media. That's probably the easiest. On Instagram, I'm Elite Coach, and on Twitter, I'm Elite Coach 16. And then you can always find me on our website as well, eliteperformanceacademy.ca. If you click under the staff, you can find my name and send me an email through there. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think it's for me in terms of football, anyways. It's tough to beat that 2002 Grey Cup year. Um, it was such a it was my first full year as a pro because the that year prior had been broken up by the Giants and the Alouettes together. So it was my first full year, and to kind of have the success that we did and have the opportunity to go win the Grey Cup and to make that that long touchdown play basically as a rookie was really just a huge thing for me in terms of, as I mentioned before, something that I had dreamed about and played over in my backyard 100 times, 1,000 times in my head. And, you know, as I said earlier, again, always growing up as the smallest kid on the field and having lots of people that doubted you through whatever, through high school, through college, and people who said you couldn't do it. And then to go out and make that play just kind of reinforced the fact that, you know, when you have a belief in yourself and you have a dream that you want to go chase and you put in the work to go get it, really anything is possible. And I think, it's been something that I've tried to pass on to a lot of the athletes that I work with, and certainly that I try to pass on to my kids now, is that, obviously not everybody can be a professional athlete, but when you find something that you love and you find something that you're good at, you can make anything that you want happen within that avenue. And so, really try to get people to kind of believe and not kind of get caught up in everybody else's stuff on social media and trying to be somebody that you're not, but really believe in what your strengths are and your goals and your dreams, and really work for them and go get them. And I think that moment for me kind of solidified all those things, and really was kind of the culmination. Even though I played for a long time after that, it was the culmination of a lot of years of hard work and a lot of years of belief and dream and time on your own doing the extra stuff, and let me know that it was all worthwhile. Yeah, I appreciate it, Lal. Thanks, man. I really enjoyed it, Lal. Thanks a lot, man. You too. Take care.